Okay, so we talked about organizations. We saw different types of organizations, and we also made the organization assignment right. We tried to correlate the company cost center etc. back to the supervisory organization. Now that will be important when we are doing the hiring and when we are actually assigning that organization to the worker, right? But now let's talk about another core concept of WorkDay HCM, and that is called staffing model. So it defines how the jobs and positions are created, right? The approach that we will take to fill up the supervisory organizations that we have created. Okay, and what are the two types? Position management and job management, right? So let's talk about them in detail. So position management offers the most control. Okay, it is like having a chair for each of the guests that you have invited. Now think about this. You are going to have a party at your home. Okay, a small get-together of friends. Maybe 5 or 6 people have been invited. So, when you invite 5 or 6 people to your home, apart from making other arrangements like maybe food and drinks, and maybe about how to entertain them, etc., you also think about where to sit them. I mean where they will sit, right? Do you have enough places for them to sit and be comfortable in? Isn't it? You don't expect. Okay, I'm calling 6 people, but I only have 4 chairs, so I will have the other 2 standing. Do you do that? Typically, no, right, if we do not have enough sofas, recliners, etc. Maybe we borrow some chairs from our neighbors, and we make the arrangement so that each and every person that we invite should be able to sit. So first you bring in the chair. So you bring in the chair, typically before the guests arrive. Correct. You don't run for chairs after they have arrived, right? Oh, you don't have a place to sit. Let me get you a chair. It's not like that. First you get a chair. Then that person arrives. Right. So similarly in a position management, first we create that chair. Okay, that chair is equivalent to a position. First you create the position. It has to be approved. It has to be ready for the new worker to arrive. Okay, and just like in your chairs, you are all the chairs of the same type. Not necessarily, right? Some may be a sofa. It can be a recliner. It can be just a normal plastic chair. It can be a very comfortable kind of elaborate kind of a sofa, a single-seater. It can be a 2-seater, 3-seater, and even huge sofas, and so on, but each chair has its own characteristics, isn't it? Right. Each chair is different. Yeah, literally the positions that we create. Each position will have its own characteristics. Each chair is different. Each position can be different. Okay, but first you define the position. You define the characteristics. Okay, it has to be approved. It has to be ready, then you start hiring in that particular position. Okay, so it gives you a lot of control. You know beforehand what is the chair. I mean, what is the person who is going to fill up that chair? I mean, what are the characteristics that the person should have? Like now, when I say characteristics, I would say, okay, whether it's going to be a full-time worker or a part-time worker. Okay, you decide that up front. What is the location of that worker? Okay, what are the qualifications needed for that in that particular worker? What are the language skills? What are the certifications? What is the experience? You know everything. You define as much as possible up front. So indirectly, you are defining the characteristics of the chair. Right, and you know exactly the kind of person that is going to come in and occupy that particular chair. So this is position management. This gives you a lot of control. Now think about this. If you are going to have a lot of workers coming in, you are hosting a big party. Let's say a wedding party, or maybe some big grand get-together of around 100-odd people, or maybe even more, 150 to 200-odd people. Will you get chairs for each and every person that you have called of, that you have invited for 200-odd people? It's a big wedding party. Sometimes wedding parties are even bigger, like 700, 1,000, 2,000 people. Fraction of that. Right, you do not order for like all 2,000, but then you do what? You host the party in a bigger area, right, maybe in the lawn, or maybe in a big banquet hall or something which has a bigger area, correct? And then the owner of that property. They will tell you, okay, our property can typically host around, let's say 7,700 to 1,500 people, something like this, right? And then you keep in mind that all the guests might not be coming at the same time. They will come, they will leave, and so on. So you are calculating all those things, but the bottom line is you are not defining the chairs for each and every guest that you have invited. Correct. You're defining your general characteristics. You're saying that, okay, the party is going to be in this particular hall. So you should be able to make it, unless you are actually able to make it to the party. You still get all the benefits of attending the party, like you get to enjoy the company of people or maybe the food or beverages. You don't get to do that. But unless you are willing to travel to that particular location. Right, so you are setting some general characteristics saying that, okay, you have to come at the party. The party starts at 7 p.m. So you have to be there by that time, right? That's it. So you are defining some general characteristics for people to be invited to that place. Right, and does it give you a lot of flexibility and speed? If you had to define each and every chair like, okay, this is what Mr. Sharma. This is Mr. Varma. This is for Mr. Reddy. This is for Mr. Such and such. Then you have to define all 2,000 chairs. Is it possible? No, not possible. Right, you are hosting a big event. It is not possible for you to go and define each and every chair in that minute detail, right, so you need flexibility. You need speed. You have invited 2,000 people. Will all the 2,000 people come? Maybe, yes, maybe no, right. Maybe there will be like 2,100 people who are coming up. Maybe there are 1,800 people who come. Isn't it? Maybe it may be there. It can be less, it can be more now. If you have invited, let's say, 4 people, you are hosting the small party for people. 2 people have come to. People have not come. What happens? If 2 people have come, the other 2 chairs, what happens to those chairs? It would be blank empty. They're empty. And let's say, when you are having your dinner, you keep looking at those chairs and say, "Oh, I wish the other 2 people had also come." Yeah, you keep saying that, because those chairs are vacant. You keep looking at them and you keep saying, "Oh yeah, I wish they could make it." Right, so that means in all your reports, in all your status reports, etc. Those 2 empty positions will keep showing up. Unless, and until somebody says, "Oh, let's remove those chairs," right? I don't want to think about them all the time. Just let's remove those chairs unless and until you close those positions. Until and unless you remove those positions. They will keep showing up in your reports because they are open positions. But in those huge party, in those where you have like 2,000 people, do you even care if 100 people didn't turn up? You are expecting 2,000 people. 100 people. You turn up, you won't even notice, right? You won't even notice, even though I listen. 300, 400 people didn't turn up. You won't even notice, because you are dealing with another 1,600, 1,700 people.